Hey guys, it can't have escaped your attention that many Muslims are exceedingly oversensitive to any perceived slights to their religion, and particularly any critical depiction of the Prophet Muhammad. I give you the example of the English writer Salman Rushdie, who wrote a book, The Satanic Verses, I believe in 1987, and the following year a fatwa was issued by the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran, and a fatwa is essentially a death proclamation against him, where a bounty is put on his head. This bounty was then increased in 1997 to $3 million for anybody who could kill Salman Rushdie for having dared to depict Muhammad in a work of literature. And then, of course, there's the Danish newspaper, Jyllands-posten, which had 12 images of Muhammad. One in particular caused offence, was an image, a cartoon of Muhammad wearing a turban, and the turban was a large bomb. And the idea of this was to suggest that Muslims are violent. And when Muslims saw this image, they were so outraged that they rioted across the world, and 200 people at least were killed as a result of this cartoon. And the epic facepalm of killing people to prove that you're not violent is almost beyond comprehension. But the massive hypocrisy of these same Muslims, and I won't even call them radical Muslims, because in certain countries they're not radical, they're the norm. You know, the entire, well, you know, thousands and thousands of people turn out to protest and riot, then that at the very least becomes a very, very significant minority. But you know, in some countries it seems that they're the norm. So the hypocrisy of these people is almost beyond belief. It's very common to see these people burning the US flag. It's very common to see these people burning effigies of US presidents and British prime ministers, and sometimes at the same time. So they think it's perfectly fair game to insult the very heart of our democracy, but they won't accept any slight whatsoever against their stupid fairy tales. But here's the thing that really, really escalates the hypocrisy into stellar proportions. In Syria at the moment, there's a war going on, obviously, between the government and rebels in the same country. Both sides are Muslim. The Muslim population of the country is almost 90%. And there's a famous minaret. A minaret is a prayer tower attached to a mosque and has great holy significance. It's where they issue the call to prayer 5 times a day, and even holds the Quran, although in this particular case it's suggested, though not proven, that the Quran that was in the prayer tower was absent at the time. But nevertheless, this is a priceless building. It's listed as one of the global heritage sites. 13th century minaret, and it's been completely destroyed in the war in Syria. Now, what this means is that whichever side destroyed it, the tower was destroyed by Muslims, and yet they will tell you that drawing a picture of Muhammad is something that merits death penalties. Now, the rebels suggest that the government accidentally or deliberately hit the minaret with shells from a tank, and the government says that the rebels went in and deliberately put explosives in and blew it up, which, you know, either explanation is credible, because there's a PR war going on there as well for the hearts and minds of the West, I guess you'd say. But the fact remains is that they conducted open warfare around one of their sacred sites. And then these people are going to tell you that you shouldn't depict Muhammad unflatteringly in a book. You know, another example is the Dome of the Rock in Israel, where this building is a sacred site to both Jewish nationals and also to Muslims, Palestinians. And it's been a site of conflict for a long, long time. And there's been open bloodshed in the Dome of the Rock, with Muslims and Jews fighting for control and for respect, I guess, over the way that this place is treated. And again, it seems absolutely incredible to me that these people are saying this is sacred, therefore we will kill people in this site. You know, it doesn't seem to be showing the attitude of respect that one would expect in a sacred site. So, you know, personally, I have no respect whatsoever for sacred sites anywhere in the world, because religion to me is just a fairy tale. So a sacred site deserves no more respect than I would show a copy of Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. You know, they're just interesting fairy tales. And if you built a building to commemorate it, I guess, you know, it's like building a Harry Potter museum or Lord of the Rings museum. You know, I certainly don't think it's worth killing over. So, you know, the next time a Muslim gets outrageously offended because you don't show proper respect to Muhammad, just remind them of the Aleppo minaret and the Dome of the Rock, and see what their justification is for this. Because if they don't show respect to their own sacred traditions, why on earth should anybody else?